Hi, everyone. I am Misty Copeland, ballerina, author, philanthropist, mommy. Welcome to my live signing for my new book, The Wind at My Back, Resilience, Grace, and Other Gifts from my mentor, Raven Wilkinson. Today is Pub Day, and I am so thrilled to finally get our story out to the world. I guess this is like a second memoir. My first memoir I wrote was about 10 years ago. And this one really does pick up from where the last one left off. Um, really going into my journey from soloist at American Ballet Theatre to becoming a principal dancer. And I didn't get there on my own. I've had so many incredible mentors, amazing Black women specifically in my life, who have helped to guide me. And Raven was a very special mentor that came into my life at a very critical point in my career when I was, trying to find myself as a professional, as an artist, and what that next step for me as a principal dancer looked like. So, this is really paralleled stories of my journey, Raven's amazing journey as a Black groundbreaking ballerina dancing with the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. She joined the company in 1955, was the only Black woman, the first and only Black woman to dance in that company. So we give a lot of her background and history, and then how our lives intersected, how they came together, and a beautiful mentorship and friendship that blossomed from there. So I'll be signing. I should get to work. I'll be signing as I speak and answer some of your questions. But I also wanted to just point out that you can purchase a signed copy of The Wind at My Back at premiercollectibles.com/Copeland. So I have my assistant Mia here off camera, who will be reading some of your questions, just so you're not like, who's that random voice coming from the side of your head? So we'll have fun today, and I'll sign while I answer some questions and maybe share some stories from the book.
Okay, we have a question in from Jill from Silver Springs, Maryland. She says she had the distinct honor of meeting Raven Wilkinson in the elevator after one of your performances at Lincoln Center. What piece of wisdom from Miss Wilkinson was the most influential in your life and career?
Oh my gosh, Jill, is that from? Thank you, Jill. It's something that's so special about Raven and our relationship was that it wasn't your typical teacher student, mentee mentor relationship. That it's really been about her sharing stories and the experiences that she had throughout the course of her life and career. And just these little gems that I would pick up from what I felt she was trying to say to me. I don't know, for instance, there was a lot of her reminding me of why I'm on stage and why I chose to be in ballet and why I'm performing, to be present and to think of the incredible gift that I'm giving to the audience. Every time I step onto the stage, it's a privilege to have a career like this, to be a professional artist and a professional dancer, and not to take that for granted. She would share stories about her experiences of dancing with the Ballet Russe in the 1950s, when segregation was at its peak and they were touring through the South. Raven came up against incredible racism, stories of the Ku Klux Klan stopping the tour bus while they were in Montgomery, Alabama, and threatening Raven's life, looking for the Black dancer. And then Raven would have to go to the theater right after and perform and kind of switch her emotional headspace. I can't imagine going through that. But I think it was art that saved her. She would go on stage and perform and have this beautiful escape. And so, there's always that reminder that, the arts are a beautiful escape, and it is a privilege to be able to be a part of it, to give the gift of performing and also to have the gift of performing as a dancer.
We have a question from Chloe from Indiana, and she wants to know, what inspired you to come out with this book now?
Chloe, thank you for that question. It's been such an interesting, career overall for me. The last 22 years, I think it's 22 or something like that I've been a professional with ABT. But I've made it my mission to bring as much awareness of the lack of diversity to, the forefront of the conversations that I'm having, and really pushing the ballet community to have them as well. And it's taken a long time for that to happen. And I'd say that in the past two or 3 years, within the pandemic, with the rise of Black Lives Matter, the murder of George Floyd, it's definitely made me feel that it's even more important now for Black and Brown people in America to understand and know that they belong here, that we belong here, that we deserve every opportunity that anyone else next to us has. And Raven's story is so important to the catalog of dance and the stories that we know and the dancers that are a part of history. She's made such a huge impact on this art form, and the world deserves to know her story and her name, and hopefully be as impacted as I was when I learned about her.
Okay, we have Lynn from California.
Ooh, Lynn from California. That's my home state.
When you were first starting out professionally, did you ever dream that you would become such a sensation?
Oh my goodness. No. When I started out dancing, I think every dancer who comes into this world, they have dreams, dreams of joining a major company maybe and becoming a principal dancer. And from day one, at 13 years old, ABT was my goal. It was the company, they were the company I wanted to dance for. And of course, I, wanted to be a principal dancer, but I never imagined that I would have all of the opportunities that I've had. And I never imagined that my path would be what it is. It hasn't been the typical path of a classical dancer. Starting at a late age, having really a long journey from corps de ballet to soloist. I think it was 7 years that I was in the corps de ballet before I was promoted. And I think it was another 7 years or so before I was promoted to principal dancer. So I've enjoyed the journey. I feel so fortunate to even be able to be on stage and perform such incredibly iconic roles, and to be able to have the conversations that I have because of the platforms that I have, whether it's because of the books that I write, the speaking in public, the endorsement deals. I try and use every opportunity because I know how fortunate I am to speak about ballet, the history of it, make people more knowledgeable of it and aware of Black people's contributions to it.
Kendra from Arizona. If not ballet, what would you be doing professionally?
Oh, thank you, Kendra. If not ballet, when I look back on my life, like before ballet, I can't think of a career that I wanted. But at this point in my life, I really enjoy cooking. um, very similar to me, to dance, that it's this amazing escape. It's not as physical, though you're on your feet, but it's not as physical as dancing. Um, but there's something about being creative, and I think cooking is very artistic. And then, of course, you have the reward of getting to eat it when you're done. Um, but it's definitely one of my favorite pastimes. I actually just made some scrambled eggs and toast right before I came on. Um, I'd love to go to culinary school one day. So yeah, yes, I'd be a chef.
And Brittany from Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
what's the biggest highlight or pinch me moment you've had in your career?
Oh my goodness, Brittany. Um, Gosh, I've had so many of those moments, and I just don't take any of my career and things that continue to happen for granted. I think being promoted was definitely a pinch me moment. Uh, well, maybe it took a year before it really hit me that it had happened. I was pretty like numb to it for a while, just because you work so hard and you put so much into your goals that sometimes well, for me, not that I lost sight of what the goal was, but it became less important, like reaching that title, like reaching that point of having the title. It was more about me, just because so much time had gone by being a soloist and getting the opportunity to do principal roles, that I really just kind of stepped back and just said, I'm going to enjoy the process and enjoy the journey, enjoy being in the studio with incredible coaches and amazing partners. That's the point of what we do. It's not necessarily to receive a title, though I understand the importance of me as a Black woman being a principal dancer, what that means. But definitely being promoted to principal dancer was a pretty big pinch me moment.
Maggie from New Hampshire, what do you like to do in your free time?
Maggie, I like to shop. I'm in my closet right now, so I was looking at my clothes when I said that. I really I do like to shop. Um, I like to travel. I like to cook. I like to eat. I would say travel is like the number one thing, that, as soon as I have a free moment, me and my husband, well, now me, my husband, and my son, are off to somewhere warm where I can just really relax. And I love being on the beach and in the sun. Because I spend so much time in the theater in a studio, that it's nice to be able to just relax and be in nature. So yeah, travel.
We have Carver from North Highlands, California.
Cool, Carver.
Can you explain the experience of performing with Prince?
Okay. I'm glad I didn't answer the last question of the pinch me moment about Prince, because that was another pinch me moment. The first time that I received a call from a girlfriend of mine, that grew up with me, and she said she worked for a dance organization, and she said, I got this call from some like management, and they wanted to know if Prince could have your number. And I was like, what are you talking about? I think my exact words were, the Prince of what country? because I just couldn't fathom, like he wasn't on my radar, someone that I thought I would ever collaborate with. Though, once I started working with him and the more I learned about him, understanding his love of other artists, his respect for other art forms, and especially his love of, dance and ballet. The fact, I mean, I knew before we connected that he had, created a ballet for the Joffrey Ballet billboards in the 90s, I believe it was. So, really cool connection. And the fact that he just has such an interest in my field, in my art form. So he invited me to come to LA and shoot a music video with him for a remake of a song, Crimson and Clover. And it was pretty magical from the first experience. Being on a set with him and him kind of giving me full reign and freedom to improvise and create to his music in a way I felt was best. So that was how the beginning of our working relationship was. It was me flying, meeting him on tour somewhere, and him telling me, like, right before I go on stage, these are the songs you're going to dance to, and you'll just go out there and you'll just improvise. And it was shocking to me because I never had that type of freedom. It's actually the opposite of what you experience in classical ballet. So much time is spent getting every little detail right of the choreography that you're rehearsing and practicing for a performance. So there's not a lot of freedom in a way where things are just kind of sprung on you last minute and you just can, create in the moment. But having that opportunity with him, it awakened something in me as an artist, to be able to deal, these, you're not always in predictable situations, where things can, whether it's the music, when you perform to live music and you have a conductor in an orchestra who might not be watching the dancers very closely, and the music gets faster, it gets slower than you're used to rehearsing, and you have to be able to think on your feet and make changes. And I feel like the time I spent working with Prince allowed me to really hone those skills of really being able to just stay on my toes, no pun intended. It definitely was a pinch me moment to have spent as working with him and having someone who was so uniquely themselves set this example and tell me that there's so much value in being a unique individual, and there's so much power by being the only Black woman at American Ballet Theatre. Whereas I never saw it that way. I always thought of it as, it's lonely, it's isolating. Do I belong here? And he kind of flipped it around and would say, you have all eyes on you, and you know how hard people work to get that, and you have it because you're different. So I learned a lot from him. It was an incredible experience.
We have Sabrina from Florida. What is your favorite part of motherhood, and how do you balance it all?
Oh, I don't know if I'm balancing it all. My favorite part of motherhood is just seeing my son Jackson's face every day. Like, there's never, I mean, it's only been 7 months, and I'm sure a lot of mothers would be like, just wait. You got a lot longer to go. But to be in a position where I feel really comfortable in my skin, and that I have a very stable home, that I can give love to another human being and impart my experiences and knowledge and everything, on to my son. I love it, and even the hard things I've enjoyed so far. It's, I think, to remind myself that all of these things are fleeting, and he's not going to be a crying baby forever. Enjoy these moments. Like, there's so many transitions and challenges that will come along, and also fun times. So I'm just enjoying seeing him turn into a little human being right in front of my eyes. It's pretty incredible that women can create human life.
We have Allison from Wisconsin. Do you ever think about doing any other style of dance? What made you choose ballet?
At 40 years old, I don't think I'm switching it. It's never too late to dance, but I don't think that I would do another genre of dance as a professional, maybe just for fun in a class or something. But I feel like ballet chose me. It's really incredible that I think at one of the most critical times in my childhood where I was really struggling. I mean, I was always really shy and introverted, but my home environment definitely didn't help pull me out of that. It actually did the opposite. You know, growing up in a single parent home, one of six children, and not often having a home, a place to live, or food on the table. Um, I was even more closed off and didn't really have a way of expressing myself that made sense for me. I was terrified to speak, so verbal communication and expression was not something that uh, I was comfortable doing. So when I was introduced to a ballet teacher at the Boys and Girls Club, where I was a member with my siblings, um, it was like this awakening in me. Um, and so I feel like it shows me. And so I didn't, it wasn't like I was put into dance classes and I had to choose between modern hip hop, tap, jazz, or ballet. Ballet was the sole focus. That's what was presented to me as an opportunity. And I took it and I happened to be really good at it. I was a natural. I was, looking forward every day to soaking up all of this new information. Um, and once I started dancing ballet, my teacher thought this was definitely something I could do as a profession. So my sole focus became classical dance, classical ballet. I didn't really have time to focus on modern or jazz or hip hop or any other form of dance. Um, so I don't know. Who knows? Maybe if I would have been introduced to modern dance at 13, I that would be my story. But I'm sticking to ballet for now.
Okay, we have Lucy from Texas.
Okay.
What advice would you give those middle and high schoolers wanting to perform at their highest level?
Advice for middle and high school performers. I know this sounds so cliche and like we hear it all the time, like especially like, it's told to like young people in general, but it's so important to stay on your journey and not to compare yourself to other people, especially when you're in this dance, environment where, uh, it can be highly competitive. Um, you're in a studio and you're staring at mirrors all day and seeing the dancer next to you in the mirror, and it's only natural to want to compare yourself. But I think that it's so valuable to um, be able to really put all the focus on what it is you're doing. Yes, it's good to be able to see other dancers and learn from them, but think of the things that you can take, that you see that you want, that you can apply to yourself, or choices as a dancer that you don't want by watching other people. There's so much value in respecting yourself and your individuality, but also embracing uh, all the lessons you can learn by observing the other dancers around you.
We have Sharon from Minnesota.
Okay.
What your nutrition and exercise look like to maintain your health for ballet?
Yeah. I would say that it's been a journey for me. I didn't come into ballet knowing exactly how to fuel my body, which is what we need to do as athletes. Um, it's been a learning process, but I think it's important to listen to your body. It's important to eat when you're hungry. It's important to hydrate. Uh, for me, I try and stay pretty steady, like all the time. So I don't ever really change what I'm eating if I'm on vacation or if I'm about to perform, the day of a performance. I try and eat healthy all the time, and everything in moderation. Um, I don't know, like today I had scrambled eggs and whole wheat toast, and I'll probably have a salad. Gosh, it's already 2:30. A salad for lunch, a later lunch. I had a late breakfast, and then maybe like salmon and sweet potato mash for dinner. But it's really about just making sure you're eating, good fresh produce, and not overeating and not undereating. But I would say one of the biggest things is, for me, is like avoiding too much sugar. So I don't ever drink soda or sugary drinks, and really just staying hydrated with water. I'm like, should drink my water.
All right, we have Hannah from New York.
Okay. Yeah, New York.
Is there a theme or a main takeaway you want your readers to gain from this book?
Yes. I think the theme, or what I want people to take away, is the importance of intergenerational relationships. And I think that's something that we often, especially I think in this day and age, and the value in having a relationship with your elders, the amazing lessons you can learn. Like, they've done it. They can tell us what to do and what not to do. Um, just, yeah, the importance of mentorship, and what it is to look back and give to those whose shoulders we stand on, as well as setting an example and opening the doors for people to come after you, and another generation. But there's so many really special stories in this book that, the time that Raven and I shared together, all of our long lunches and brunches at our favorite cafe here in New York on the Upper West Side, to seeing Raven dance with my husband at our wedding. All of these really special stories are in the book. I think in a very personal way, more than I typically share. But Raven was such a big part of my personal life that I felt it was important to share a lot of those stories.
We have Peyton from Maryland.
Okay.
How did you meet your husband?
Oh. Well, I was 21 years old. I was just a young thing. And I was out at a nightclub in New York City, living it up. and I saw this beautiful man from across the way. So I noticed him, and eventually his cousin approached me and said, "My cousin is interested in you," and was very pleasantly surprised when his cousin turned out to be the guy that I saw that was very attractive. We met that night and exchanged numbers, and he left to go back to Atlanta the next morning, where he was in law school at Emory. So we ended up doing long distance for a year. I was in New York and he was in Atlanta. He eventually moved to New York. We were together for, God, over 10 years, I think, before we got married, something like that, maybe 11 or 12 years. So it's been a long journey. Yeah. just a reminder, you can buy a signed copy of the book, The Wind at My Back, at premiercollectibles.com/Copeland.
We have Carla from Maine. When looking for a mentor, what are characteristics to look for in that person?
Oh, wow. When looking for a mentor, what are the characteristics to look for in that person? I think things that you would like to, like attributes you would like to have, goals that you have, maybe that this person has reached or conquered, finding someone that that kind of represents what you would like to see for yourself in the future. Um, I don't think that they necessarily have to align with exactly what you want to do as a career, or maybe even necessarily have to be the same, from the same background or community as you. I think that it's, again, finding ways of connecting, with someone that'll push you, someone that'll nurture you. Raven is one of a small handful of Black dancers that are mentors of mine. A majority of the mentors I have in my life are not dancers, but most are Black women who are successful in their own right in different fields. So I think that, look for what you're striving to be. And when you see that in someone, that might be a good fit.
So we have a question from Thalitha.
Okay.
Her partner from Georgia, and they wanted to know that they've always wished to see you perform.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance that you will be performing in Atlanta anytime soon?
Oh, I don't know if I'm performing in Atlanta anytime soon. But I mean, one of the reasons that I wanted to start my production company, Life in Motion Productions, is to be able to bring dance to more people by having it, the quality that you get in live theater and on a stage. You should be able to get that same quality and experience in a theater, in a movie theater, or on television, or through streaming services. And I have a lot of amazing projects in the works, dance projects where I'm bringing dance and a new approach to seeing full-length ballet, or a modern take on a ballet, to television or film, or hopefully it can reach you in Atlanta. If you can't see me live in a theater there, I have a short film called Flower that I'm starring in, along with the community of Oakland, California. And I'm dancing on film, and we're in the midst of deciding where that will be distributed. And I'll make sure that I let all of my audiences know, whether through my social media or website, where you can see that.
And from Henry from Washington, what was the feeling when you became the first African American woman to be promoted to principal dancer in ABT's 75-year history?
Oh my goodness. It was a very surreal moment. I think that it made it more special because when I received the news, I was surrounded by my peers and my coworkers, these dancers that I've known and worked with, a lot of them since I was 17 years old. It's a long time to work alongside people, and they understand your journey and have seen the ups and downs and know the work that goes into getting there. So it was really special to have that announcement made in front of everyone, and to see it felt like everyone's celebration. But for the Black community, it was really incredible, to be able to say that we do belong in this space in the classical ballet world. It was just a really powerful moment, and I felt like it was something that my ancestors and so many Black ballet dancers in particular fought for me to be in this position and get this opportunity. So it's a day that I will never forget.
From EJ, what advice would you give people who feel like they have found their passion too late in life?
I just don't believe that it's ever too late to find your passion. I think you have, it's an incredible privilege to even know what your passion is, period. I know so many people that go their whole lives and never find that. I just don't think it's ever too late. Be present and be in the moment. Take every opportunity to be able to explore that passion, or dive into learning more about it or doing more of it, whatever that is. That's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to know that you have found your passion. So don't take it for granted, and it's definitely not too late.
Okay. We have Natalie from California. What practices do you put into play to help stay afloat and mentally healthy?
There's like a balance of talking and communicating. Like, it's so important not to push things down and not address them. To have someone in your life that you can have this constant dialogue with. It's so healthy to get things off your chest and to be able to process them in a way that's outside of your head and outside of you. But at the same time, as it's important to talk and communicate, it's also important to be quiet and still. So it's really finding that balance, which right now in my life is very difficult with a new baby, to find those moments of stillness where you can just decompress and process things in your mind before you have conversations with people in your life. And I'm looking forward to getting back into the studio, because it has always been my moment to be still and introspective, and kind of find my grounding.
We have Callie. What is something you wish you would have known at 25 years old?
Okay. So 25, that's 25 years old. That was before I met Raven. So something that I wish I would have known, and something that Raven helped me out a lot with, is understanding the power of my voice, and not just my voice in terms of my expression as an artist on stage. That I've always been very confident with, but the voice, off the stage, and how I can have some agency over my life and my career. That's something I wish I would have known earlier. That I can be an adult at 25, because you are, and have conversations, for instance, with my boss, my artistic director, and be able to say what I want, what I'm striving for. I think often as dancers, we're, told to, kind of keep things to yourself. And if the opportunity is meant to be, or if you're talented enough, then you'll get, these chances. But it shouldn't always be that way. You should be able to advocate for yourself. And I wish I knew that at 25.
We have Sean from Nebraska. Ballerina, author, mom. What's next for your career?
Oh, more of that, all of that. More books. This is my 8th book. It's unbelievable, and I say this with every book that it's my favorite, but I think this one is my favorite right now. I will be writing more books. I have more children's books on the way. Maybe there will be more babies. There's going to be more dancing. One thing that I'm really, really excited about is my foundation that just launched in September, the Misty Copeland Foundation. And you can find more out about that at mistycopelandfoundation.org. We've just launched our first program called Be Bold, Ballet Explorations. Ballet offers leadership development. And it's like a full circle moment. I started out with a free ballet class and an after school program at the Boys and Girls Club. And my life was completely changed with that opportunity. Having access and an opportunity is all I needed to be able to grow and thrive as a person. And so I want to be able to give that to children that are in underprivileged, under-resourced, underrepresented communities, especially Black and Brown children. So through the Be Bold program, and we are starting out small, before we expand. But right now we are at Boys and Girls Clubs at 5 sites in the Bronx here in New York City. And it's not necessarily to find the next ballet superstar, which would be amazing if we did through these programs. But it's to give these children an opportunity to develop the skills and find the tools, and you can do, and that exists in dance and in art, to go on to become leaders in their communities. So what better way than through a free ballet class after school, when it's such a critical time in a child's life, when they often don't have a lot happening, whether their parents are still working. It's really an opportunity to continue learning in a fun and rigorous way.
We have Joe from Massachusetts. Describe a hardship that you had to endure and what you did to overcome it and come out on the other side.
Had a lot of them. I can pick any number of them, but the main theme has always been the support in my life that's allowed me the guidance that's given me the guidance to be able to overcome. So maybe the biggest injury I had in my career. At a very critical time in my professional life, I was doing my first principal role at American Ballet Theatre. I was the first Black woman to perform this role with the company, the Firebird. I was rehearsing too much and not taking care of my body the way I should have. And I ended up with 6 stress fractures to my tibia. And I was told I was never going to dance again. And it was through incredible support. Actually, my co-author, Susan Failshill, who wrote this book with me, was one of my biggest supporters in that moment, who connected me with, everyone she knew in New York City, to connect me to the best surgeons and best doctors to get as many opinions as possible. But the point of the story is that what's gotten me through so much adversity is the support system that I have, the mentors in my life. And that's why it's so important for me to write this book about one of the many incredible women that have mentored me and guided me throughout the course of my life and my career. Yeah.
We have about 60 more seconds.
Okay.
And I will shoot off a few rapid questions.
Okay. I'm so bad at this. Okay. My answers are too long. Okay, go.
Where were you born?
I was born in Kansas City, Missouri.
What was your first job?
My first job was being a ballerina.
What chore do you hate doing?
Oh, I love chores. Seriously, I do. I love to clean and stuff. Taking out the trash.
What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is not being prepared for something.
Who makes you laugh the most?
My son Jackson. He makes me laugh and cry and smile and everything.
And one last question. Let's make it a good one.
Okay.
Would you want to play you in a movie?
Oh my gosh. I haven't been asked this question in years. They're all gonna be people that I love that probably like you'd be like, what? Like, this person has like no no resemblance of you or anything. No, I love Zendaya. She's way too tall though. I'm only 5'2". I also think Zoe Kravitz could be an interesting option. She's so gorgeous though. But yeah, are those all the rapid fire?
Yes.
Oh, well, this has been so amazing. Thank you all for tuning in. I am so thrilled that this book is finally available. Again, you can get a signed copy by going to premiercollectibles.com/Copeland, and you will get a personally signed copy from me. You watched me sign it in front of you. Thank you all for your incredible support today. Bye.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.